Reuse unfinished soups for the next customer? Lose your restaurant. This revenge story happened in the 90s when I was working after school as a line cook chef's assistant at a Chinese restaurant. This place specialized in noodle soups, with the main attraction being our soup stock. The owner used a much revered passed down family recipe. It consisted of freshly cracked pork bones, fresh spices, and fresh vegetables, all kept at a rolling boil for over 12 hours. It had to be started the night before, and the owner was very particular about the soup stock. If it ran out, then it ran out. He refused to cheat, as some places do, by adding water or powdered stock, etc. The owner himself was this really awesome old Chinese gentleman. He had some incredible stories. For example, he enlisted into the Kuomintang Chinese Republic Army in the 40s and worked as a chef for KMT officers during World War II. He told us about how one time his division's HQ was overrun and he had to escape on a push bike ahead of the advancing Japanese army. Eventually, when the Chinese Communist Party took over in the 50s, he was assigned to a steel factory to work for the rest of his life. He got the heck out and eventually made his way to the US as an asylum seeker. I digress, but my point is that he was an awesome guy and was a genuinely kind and considerate boss. He always made sure his employees were fed before the evening shift and let me study during quiet nights. His son, on the other hand, was a real piece of crap. This guy dropped out of college. His parents saved up for him to study medicine. After 2 years, he floated in and out of jobs, but mostly stayed unemployed, living with his parents and using their money well into his mid-30s. He eventually started working at the restaurant, nominally as the front of house manager, but in reality did nothing but watch TV and take naps. While I was only a line cook, the old man and I got along really well. He trusted and would routinely get me to make the soup stock the night before under his supervision. Sadly, the old man died after my 5th year working there. That's when the son took over. The mother had passed years ago. The son had zero cooking experience, but decided to take over as the chef. He didn't like the idea of putting the soup on overnight, waste of gas, and instead got me to do the prep the night before, and then would just switch the pot on himself in the morning. He would also routinely add plain water to the soup when it got low, so he could continue selling noodle soups. The most incredible thing, however, was disgustingly, he got the waitstaff to throw customers' unfinished soups back into the stock pot for reuse. When I confronted him about it, he told me that it was no problem as the heat killed any germs, and threatened to fire me if I said anything. Not surprisingly, customers started leaving as the food quality degraded. This caused the son to panic and cut even more costs. He fired most of the old staff and thus overworked the remaining. He couldn't fire me because I was the only one left who knew how to do the soup. He also stopped using quality ingredients and started to buy cheap pre-packaged stuff in order to reduce my prep work hours. After a few months of this, I got sick of his crap. As I was about to start college myself, I told him that I was giving him my notice. He of course took this poorly and told me that I was a loser. He told me not to bother coming in tomorrow, but I was to spend the remainder of my shift showing a recent hire on how to do my job, stating that he would not issue my last check if I didn't complete a thorough handover. I laughed in his face and walked out on the spot. I didn't bother chasing up my last check. As a parting gift, I sent an email to our local food safety board, informing them of the poor sanitary practice of reusing leftover soups. I helpfully also enclosed a few photos that I had sneakily taken of the practice. The board sent inspectors the very next day and closed the restaurant. There were other issues, such as unhygienic bathrooms, unclean eating utensils. He was issued a massive fine and a list of undertakings to carry out before it could be reopened. The restaurant remained closed and was eventually sold off. I didn't bother chasing up what happened to the son, but I hope he has learned his lesson and done something productive with his life.